Good afternoon. My name is Tyson Parker. This speech is a speech to persuade people from Mid-America Christian University for fundamentals of public speaking. The topic I'm going to talk about today is minimum wage, uh, and it's really, more about the, the claims of inequality as far as pay goes, more than minimum wage. People that work at McDonald's feel that they should be paid. Up to $15 an hour, whereas, you know, people that are receptionists, they make $10 an hour. But anyway, we'll get into it. So, lately in the news, you've read people at McDonald's claiming they need more money to, basically to prepare food, stuff like that, work at fast food restaurants. There has been places where they've got automated machines to take your order. Basically, it's a touch screen. You just order what you want. They print out the receipt. You pay for it at the machine. You have no interaction with people. The only people that are at the restaurant themselves are people to clean the tables off and people to prepare the food. There's no cash register anymore. You pay at the machine. What that's done due to them, due to that automated machine being installed, is they have actually reduced the physical workforce of the people in the restaurant, because now you can have the initial cost of an automated machine might be a little higher, but there's no scheduling, there's no overtime pay, there's no health benefits you have to pay for. That machine does it all by itself. You may have to employ one or two people that are technically proficient on that machine, but that's where the demand for a higher minimum wage comes to a stop, because now that you have demanded that you want more minimum wage, you have now just proven that an automated machine can do the same job and cost less. Another company that has been brought up here recently is a Seattle-based company where they've also increased the minimum wage, but they did a different way. They did salary. So at this company, the CEO, Dan Price, came up with some kind of formula, and every employee that has been there for a certain amount of time gets a certain raise or something like that, but it all equals out to about $70,000 a year salary. So what that means is that somebody as a receptionist at his business will get $70,000 a year salary. Meanwhile, the national accounts manager that they have there, who has been to school, some kind of training, stuff like that, he also only gets $70,000 a year. So where's the incentive to be a national account manager and spend money to go to school, be trained, stuff like that, to be able to do it? That's where the main issue arises with that. That company had several higher people, account managers and various other positions, that actually left the company because of how unfair it was that a receptionist or janitor or somebody that just started even be able to get the same amount of pay as somebody that's been there for 3-4 years and has worked their way up to that position, make the same pay that they do. So that's another one. The other thing is that, as you raise as the minimum wage raises, if you look at it, historically, when the price of a commodity increases, for the beginning user to have, the end user, the consumer, is the one that ultimately pays for it. So if you raise minimum wages, you have to also raise the price of goods as well. And if you raise the price of goods, then you have an offset. The people that work for minimum wage can't afford this anymore, so they've got to change. Whereas if you increase minimum wage, you also have to look at the fact that some employers, smaller businesses, which typically, the way I see it anyways, the country run off of small businesses, individuals, that entrepreneurs. If you raise the minimum wage, they have to do what they need to make sure that their business runs, which means cut health benefits, cut jobs, raise the price of their item that they have, or goods or services. They've got to be able to do all that stuff. I particularly do not care for that. I would rather it be a free market, and either, the federal government say they have to pay this much, like this is the minimum wage, which is what it's at right now, cannot be any lower than this, nationwide. However, let the states, or even, let it be a free market to where, in general, the general consensus of the country, let the people decide what the minimum wage should be, per the job, per, business. If you work here, if you work at McDonald's and you make $7 an hour, you go to Burger King, they're going to offer you $8 an hour for the same job. Let there be a competitive look as to why one would work here versus the other. You know, that's just something else to look at. As far as minimum wage goes, minimum wage should be a starting point. Typically, if you look at it, it's for the people that are beginning out in a job somewhere. The teenagers that are trying to pay for their first car or something like that. It's meant to be a starting point, not some place where you want to stay the rest of your life. For the people that are older, that they're the ones that are complaining that they need more money, because they don't have enough money. Well, if you look at it statistically wise, people that are demanding the higher wages are living outside of their means, which means they've got more bills than they make money to pay them. So essentially, the solution to that is that they need to live within their means, which I'm sure everyone would agree that you should always live within your means. The simple way to look at it, to conclude this, would be, if the minimum wage is raised, the price of goods goes up, or you start losing jobs, or you lose your benefits. They cut costs at different businesses. And the question that I would like to end with would be, which would you have to do if it was your choice? If you were an owner, what would you do if you had to raise minimum wage or cut costs and figure out a way to cut those costs?